What is up, everyone? It's Batarun. Today, I'm going to watch Uber Ride Scary Animated Story, and this is from not Once Entertainment, but another scary animated horror story channel, just like Once Entertainment, but it's called IMR Scary Tales. Now, this channel used to be a channel where they produced like a lot of Indian content, but now they switched it up. They changed the name and everything, and now it's just animated horror stories, just like Once Entertainment. But it's quite a fairly new channel, so it doesn't have as many like subscribers just yet. So I'm gonna see if I can widen their audience and react to some of their content. And I have already watched one or two of their videos already, but let's see what this video is about. And Uber Ride, this is very familiar for me because I do take Ubers, and also my dad's an Uber driver too. So let's see if I can relate to this video and give this a watch.
As a former Uber driver, I've dealt with a whole bunch of unpleasant characters, from the drunken groups of friends on Saturday nights, to the people who pretend to be handicapped to get free rides. But every so often, you may pick up somebody who can just be classified as a straight-up creep. I've picked up a few of these guys, but never one quite as bad as a guy named Tom. It was a Friday night of the year. I had nothing to do, so I figured I'd do some late-night pickups. This was 2 years ago. I was 18 and had a new Honda Accord. My parents kind of spoiled me a bit. I was a very skinny 18-year-old though. That's why my dad told me to always keep a blade in my car, because you never know what kind of nuts are getting into the car. A guy named Tom popped up a couple miles away by a major shopping area. I responded to his request and started driving in that direction. I pulled up in front of the shopping center, where I saw a group of teenagers hanging out. It looked like trouble. I hoped this Tom guy wasn't part of this group. A bunch of them looked at me in my car as I slowly passed. Eventually I just hit the gas and went further into the parking lot of the shopping center, wanting to get away from this group. I did 2 laps around the whole parking lot until I finally noticed through my left mirror somebody approaching my car from behind. I rolled down my window and called out Tom, and he called back yes. I told him to hop in. I had to repeat myself 3 times, and given that all I was saying was hop in very clearly, made the situation very weird from the start. The 4th time he finally understood me and walked slowly around the back, getting into the seat right behind me. Usually the people I picked up would sit diagonally from me, which is what I preferred. When people sat right behind me, it just made me a little paranoid sometimes, especially when the person seemed kind of creepy. This guy was old. He had to be in his upper 40s. "Where to?" I asked him. He told me an address, which I entered into my phone. By his voice, I could tell he was a very heavy smoker. Come to think of it, my car was starting to smell like cigarettes too. The address he gave me was 10 miles away, which was fine, since it meant I'd be making more money. I tried making small talk initially, which didn't work out too well. Like if I would ask him a yes or no question, sometimes he would just mumble, and any other questions led to dry responses. I stopped talking when he completely ignored one of my questions. That was within just 5 miles. There was still 5 to go. By the 6-mile mark, things started getting uneasy in there. I was afraid to look into the rearview mirror because I was so sure that he was staring at me. I took a quick half-second glance and saw I was right. He was in fact staring at me. My body forced my foot down heavier on the gas. I wanted this ride to be over sooner. By the 8-mile mark, I started to realize we were in the middle of nowhere. We were on basically a deserted street with woods on either side and occasional buildings. I was growing suspicious now as to where this address he told me actually was. So, while driving, I dragged my finger across my phone to slide the map in the direction of the address. It seemed to lead to a dead-end street with no surrounding streets nearby. I was getting more and more nervous with each passing minute now. I shot a glance back up again at the mirror, and he was still watching me. I finally summed up the courage to ask him if the address he gave me was of his house. There was silence for a few moments, and I thought he was once again going to ignore me, or possibly didn't hear me. But 5 seconds later, he finally answered yes. There was less than a mile left in the drive now, still surrounded by nothing but woods with the occasional empty-looking building. I was approaching the dead-end street that the address he gave me resided on, hoping some houses would come into sight. As the street came up, I slowed down so I could get a good look of it. But nothing could be seen, just pitch blackness. I could only imagine why he wanted to get me out here alone, so far away from anybody or anything. I casually kept driving, pretending like I missed it, hoping he wouldn't notice, but he did. Instantly, he hopped out of his seat and yelled at me to turn around. Honestly, I felt like my life was on the line, so I apologized and did a quick 3-point turn. As I was reapproaching the dead-end street, I dug my hands into the netting compartment on the side of my seat where I kept my blade. I very quietly flicked the blade open and held it tight in my right hand, ready to use it. I turned down the dead-end road, with my headlights now displaying just what I thought I would see. Nothing but trees on either side. I made it to the end of the road, not a single house or building on the road. I just knew something was about to go down. I was just trying to physically and mentally prepare myself for it. Suddenly, he said in as soft as a voice as he probably could, "Thanks for the ride." I wasn't even thinking about money at this point. He opened his door, but before stepping out, he said, "Could you get out of the car for a second? I need help carrying my bag. I have a bad back." But he didn't have a bag. I knew he didn't. He didn't come in with one. I replied, Yeah, sure, let yourself out and I'll help you in a sec." The shakiness in my voice was too obvious. What happened next, I never imagined would have happened. All of a sudden, I felt pressure on my neck. It took me at least a second before I could realize he was choking me from the back seat. Immediately, I drilled the blade into his left arm and he screamed in pain, releasing his grip on my neck. He fell out of the car and onto the street, and I took that opportunity to turn the car around and practically floor it down the street until I returned to a busy road. I actually didn't end up calling the cops. I was just too scared to do anything but drive home. And by the time I got home, I just wanted to go to sleep and forget about it. Needless to say, I resigned from my Uber driving days after this incident.
Yo, that video dragged, and every minute it dragged, it just made it more and more intense. Like, it was like watching a mini horror movie, man. Like, it was so intense. I just really wanted to know what was gonna happen at the end. Like, I had a feeling like, what's gonna happen to him? Is he gonna die? Is he gonna die? But the guy who's narrating is that guy anyway, so why would he die? But it felt like he was gonna kill him or something. Like, it was so intense until the last minute when he freaking stabbed him, and he did a good job too. He did a good self-defense right there, because like, I think, and that minute of your life, with your life on the line at that moment, he did the best he could have done. Like, I would have done probably a similar thing in that situation. I would just ignore it. I wouldn't call the cops or anything. I just want to just get out of the way, and I don't want to have this just unwanted like hassle and let it affect me as well. Like, I don't want to be a witness of something. Like, I just want to just get him out of my car and just drive off and go home and, yeah, forget about it, like he said. Just sleep it off. But obviously you can't sleep this off, because this is a traumatic experience that you'll never forget, and this guy is 18 years old, so obviously he won't forget this. It's creepy, man. It's really scary, like having a guy like that, an old guy who's not even talking to you properly, giving you blunt replies, and taking you to like a area without no buildings in a forest kind of place. It is very creepy. I can relate to that if I was taking someone for a drive, even though I'm not an Uber driver, man. A guy sitting right behind you as well, like right up behind you, staring at you, breathing towards you. I don't know if I would have the balls to, but I would really urge to tell him, is everything all right back there? Like, are you okay? Do you want a drink? Or like something like that. But obviously he won't reply. He will just probably just say something, mutter something under his breath, like he did throughout the whole journey. But that that is very relatable. I don't know how I found this one out of all the other videos like the most intense, because it kept dragging and dragging. Like the 10-mile journey felt a lot longer than that. It felt like every second is like dragging, like every second is like 30 seconds. That's how it felt, because of how intense the whole situation was. I don't know if you felt the same way. Comment down below if you felt the same way, but I certainly felt that way. Yeah, and watching this video makes me want to check out more of these IMR Tales content as well as One C Entertainment. But these guys also produce, I don't know if it's one person or the whole channel is based on several different, I think it's several different people, because it's like different animated stories based on different people's traumatic experiences or real life stories, real life situations like this. So yeah, I want to check out more of this because it's interesting, and they have their own type of like animation with the whole like cartoon features and all that compared to One C Entertainment. One C Entertainment have a different type of like cartoon faces and all that. But I liked this. This story was very, very interesting, and I need to tell my dad to be careful now because he's an Uber driver as well. But he has a lot more experience, man. Like, he's not 18 years old. Yeah, and good thing he resigned from his job. I don't know what can happen like in the future. Maybe he comes on the same ride in the same cab again and just come up back for revenge or something. You know what? I don't know why he even tried to kill him. Like, what was the reason for it? Was this guy like high on some sort of drug or something? Is this guy a druggie or something like that? Or what's going through his mind? I need to, like, a lot of these videos are just unexplainable. Like, you don't know why this person did this. Like, it doesn't explain that, because that just makes it even more scary, because you want to know why he did this and what's going through people's minds in order to come up with that decision, isn't it, in the first place. But it is what it is. People like this exist in the world, and I think there's always a reason for that. Anyways, hope you guys like my reaction and my review, and I catch you guys later. Peace out.